Raise your glass to a school teacher turned entrepreneur. Nondumiso Pikashe is the founder of Sesvikile Wines, one of the few female winemakers in one of the world's biggest wine industry. For the past 10 years, the Guguletu-based winemaker has been trying to make it in a man's world. It's here, in this vintage wine tasting room outside of Cape Town, where wines were first showcased.
Sesvikile is a Nguni name, which means we have arrived. So it's a multi-layered concept. It speaks about the arrival of women in the space previously reserved for men. That is business. Women were actually channeled to caretaker professions, be a nurse, be a teacher, be a social worker. So Sesvikile talks to that too. Women, exploring, avenues that were not open to them.
She says scant resources and even more scant knowledge about winemaking has made it an uphill journey.
For you to thrive, you need to be knowledgeable, you need to have money, you need to understand how the whole value chain works, domestically as well as internationally. So it's difficult because one, you have grown really not understanding the dynamics about wine as a product itself, let alone the production thereof, the distribution thereof, and the marketing thereof, and how to run also a wine business sustainably.
Determined to succeed, Pikashe joined forces with Mooiplas, a winery near Cape Town. This armed her with resources and skills.
So it has been a difficult journey, but being a woman, I had to tell myself I'm going to persevere, stroke, endure. I've been at it since 2006. I'm still doing it. I told myself if I don't succeed, let me be the pioneer so that those who come after me, will get into my footsteps and do better.
In September, Pikashe and other wine enthusiasts met at Cape Wine 2015, a tri-annual event, the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. Around 350 exhibitors are at this year's trade show, all with a similar goal: to promote their brand and possibly increase their share within local and international wine markets.
Our industry is in a very exciting time of its growth. We are pursuing value growth, not necessarily volume growth. We have roughly 100,000 hectares under vine, and it won't really change because of resources like water. I think what people are doing is they're innovating. That's a strong theme coming through, is the innovation in our cellars, in our vineyards, to make better and more interesting wines. And I think through that, and also our sensitivity to our biodiversity, sustainability, sets us apart from our competitors for a very long time now.
Reports say South Africa is the world's 7th largest wine producer, contributing 36 billion rand, around $3 billion to the country's GDP. Demand for our wine is rising across Africa and China. This gives Pikashe the chance to get her product to a larger market.
And I think that South Africa wine is growing up because the high qualities and the good price. I think that South Africa wine will growing fast, and as my opinions that it will at least 20% a year could be great.
It's still very much male dominated and pale. Very few black people in this industry, very few women in this industry. South Africa has come a long way. I think now South Africa has turned a corner because there are younger winemakers who are prepared to experiment with new styles and getting to define who we are in the wine industry.
Determined to break the mold is Nondumiso Pikashe and her Sesvikile label. You could argue that after 10 years, she has arrived. A tribute to the persistent entrepreneur. Benedict, CNBC Africa, Cape Town.